Yo, guys. Welcome to an absolutely huge week of auctions. Welcome to a new world. We have a new most expensive card in the history of the hobby. And welcome to the show where we're going to talk about all the biggest stories from what's happened in the previous week in the world of auctions. And some huge stories coming up this week. This is the premier auction week at Fanatics Collect, so that's huge. It's not just Fanatics Collect, though. We're going to talk about 6 or 7. See, I already did it. 6 or 7 big time auctions that are happening this week. I'm your host, Adam Gray. You can reach me at the Real 27 Guy on Instagram if you want to DM me. But if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. As I always say, guys, again, the numbers on the show have been awesome. I just want to thank you guys for that. I have so many big things happening right now. I'm acquiring one of the biggest cards I've ever purchased. I'm really excited about that. There are some big cards that are ending at MC Sports Cards tonight and throughout the next 7 days that will help pay for that card, I've told you guys before, I do not have a lifestyle that allows me to buy cards with money that comes from outside of my collection. So my collection is self-contained. I have to sell cards to be able to buy cards. I have to. It's the only way I can do it. Wish I had some massive thing outside that allowed to pay me or pay for these other things, but I don't. So I am buying one of the biggest cards I've ever bought in my life, and so I'll talk a little bit about that later in the episode. But first, let's get to the biggest news tonight, or the biggest news of the week. So something that I've started doing every week that I think a lot of you have liked is the Card Ladder Top 10 Sports Cards of the week. Well, when we sort Card Ladder for the last 7 days, one thing you're going to see right away is that the top 10 cards actually of the whole week, 9 of the top 10, the first 9 are all non-sports cards. I think they're all Pokemon cards. And that includes the story that everybody's going to be talking about this week, like incessantly. You're going to hear a lot of people talk about it. You will not see a reel from me on this. You will not hear me talk about this a whole bunch, but I will say at the beginning that $16.5 million was spent on a Pikachu Illustrator card. It sounds like that the buyer has already come forward too, which is really cool. To put this in context, when I traded cards into my purchased Kobe Bryant Logoman autograph, his very first Logoman autograph card a few years ago, I spent just over 1% of what was spent on this card. 1%. $180,000 is what I spent on that card. 185, something like that. So you think about that, like $16.5 million. People are like, oh, that's a lot. It's really an incredible amount. 1% of $16.5 million is $165,000. It's incredible. 1/10 of 1% is way more money than the vast majority of people will ever spend on cards. And so it's crazy. With all that said, let's look at the top 10 sports cards of the week, though. And I think there's some real surprises on here. So coming in, I hope I get this right. I think number 10, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, this is not a real card right here. Card Ladder, I think we'll remove this. This does not look like a real card to me. 10. Okay. So at number 10, the number 10 card of the week, a Shohei Finest autograph in a PSA 10 with 10 autograph. So this is not the rarest card, but this card, the grade here does some really heavy lifting, $34,800. A Cooper Flag autograph patch out of Topps Midnight in the Dallas uniform. It's an RPA, all right? And it's numbered out of 5, sold for $35,000. At number 8, the Dwayne Wade 2023 Flawless Championship Tag Auto. The card is numbered 1 of 1. Card, which is different than most championship tag autographs. Most championship tag autographs are out of 2, but it's also post playing days. He's wearing the right jersey, but it's after his career is over. But it is a 1 of 1. So all things we're thinking about on that card right there. A PSA 1 of the Mickey Mantle 1952 Topps, off-centered up and down, off-centered left and right. Looks like it has some creasing. Still yields almost $40,000. That's number 6, a dual autograph sold on eBay of Michael Jordan and LeBron James, PSA 9 with 10 autograph. The autographs absolutely look like 10s. They're fantastic. Next up, the Patrick Mahomes, number to 99, the RPA, selling at DC Sports Cards on eBay. A card that we're not used to seeing on eBay. Decent patch on this. Looks like it's just 3 colors, but the card is graded authentic, so not with the card grade. Coming in next, the Kobe Bryant. I think we're like number 5 now. Sorry, got a little lost track on that. Almost $50,000 at Greg Morse Sports Cards on eBay. This is the PSA 10 of his first year kabooms. Not the rarest things in the world, but still selling for gobs and gobs of money. Crazy, crazy money. To me, it seems fairly insane. But one thing that we have for sure noted, that I must acknowledge over the years, is that it's harder to tell today what people are really going to love and want. Some things are sort of shocking, right? The kabooms have taken off in a way that is really incredible. And yeah, it's amazing to see. So almost $50,000 for the Kobe Bryant. Again, I don't believe that this is a real sale. I think if you look closely at this card, the card appears to be a fake. So I think Card Ladder will probably remove that from the database. It just came across today. So I think they'll kick that one out here. And then for the top 3 sales of the week, you've got number 3. I think it's the top 3. Yeah, right. Yeah. You've got this awesome Josh Allen. We've seen this one a few times. The big giant Buffalo Bills patch autograph in a PSA 9 with 10 autographs did 57,000. These 3 are all really close. Then a Tom Brady that some people felt like was controversial to see sell this high. I don't feel as strongly as some of the other people do about this one. It is a 1 of 1. It is a 1 of 1. People said it's from the National. That's what National means right here. So Timeless Tributes. To me, it looks like a regular Timeless Tributes card that that they made a parallel of. The parallel on the back is actually really cool. It's a 1 of 1. The 1 of 1 emblem is in hollow foil. It looks really nice, and it looked to me like a base card. But people are saying, well, that's from the National. It shouldn't be worth that. It is still a Tom Brady 1 of 1 of a recognizable set. Now, it may not have come out of regular packs. It may have come out of packs that were at the National. That I do not know. But it is still an early Tom Brady 1 of 1 card. And it's Gem 10 too. So, and it's really nice looking. So it had a lot going for it. And at some point, some people care less about where the card actually came from and what the card actually is. And the fact that it's a recognizable brand and it's a 1 of 1 and it's PSA 10 and it's Tom Brady, sometimes that's the story. And so I saw some people saying, no, the people who bought this could not have known possibly what it was from. That might be true, but it also might be wrong. And I would always err on the side of like not trying to put down somebody for buying something that is crazy expensive, because, especially when like I'm literally buying a card this week that people are going to be like, why did he buy that? Why did he spend so much on it? I just don't care, right? Like, I don't care. I'm going to buy the cards that I like, and I would recommend you do the same. So, those are my thoughts on that. But I'm also not talking down to those people who are like, you need to get educated. Like, there's some truth to that. I just think there's maybe a little bit better way to do it. But what do I know? And then the number 1 card of the week, the Drake May Kaboom Vertical Purple PSA 10. Sold on the 12th for $59,000. That is your Card Ladder top 10 sports cards of the week. And I want to show you 2 other things real quick on the, where did we go? On the big sales from last week. And we'll do that, and then we'll get on to the auctions this week. So Hoodies Collectibles had a really interesting combination that I thought was worth watching, and the results were even more interesting. So there were 2 superfractors that were up. The 2007, that's this card up here, and the 2008, that's this card down here. Now, I like doing these posts because I think that the findings from these, when you can like isolate variables and you can look at it, you can compare things, you can learn some really interesting things. And my other thing that I'm going to highlight this week, before we get to the biggest auctions of the week, the other thing that I'm going to highlight is similar to this. So this is a really unique situation. You can read my little write-up right here. But basically, this is probably the first time ever where you've got two Topps Chrome superfractors of the same player selling effectively at the same time. They were like an hour and a half apart from each other. And they're from the same seller, not shockingly. So somebody who was an Al Harrington collector, they got 2 of his Topps Chrome superfractors, of which Al Harrington has 6 or fewer in existence. They only made 6, right? From 04 to 09. They only made 6 Topps Chrome superfractors of any player, right? So like I've got a Yao Ming. Yao Ming had 6. He had his first one in 04. He had his last one in 09. I own the 04, and I'm like, great, this is one of the best Yao Ming cards in the world. I show it off and tell people, hey, if you want the first Yao Ming Top Scrum Superfractor, you'd have to get it from me. Like, I love it. I think it's awesome. So even if you're a fairly common player, like Al Harrington had a great career, but he's a fairly common player, it's a big deal when they go up for auction. And so I looked at these and I said, I wonder how people will think about these. I love the horizontal look on the 07. I do. I think that action shot right there from above is really cool. I like the design on both a lot, but I probably prefer the 08 because it comes across as more iconic at this point. It mirrors the Choctaws LeBron from the same set. It mirrors the Kobe with the LeBron guarding him. It's just a better known set at this point. So as far as like how iconic the card is, I give the edge to 08. Aesthetics, as far as image and design, I think it's pretty close. But then the other significant things are that some people don't like horizontal cards. That might be a factor here. And then the last thing is that the 08, that's the one down here on the bottom right. I should have said that in the beginning. This one's a PSA 9, whereas this one's a PSA 7. So it seems like a lot of the leanings went the 08's way, right? Higher grade, vertical versus horizontal, an era that people like more. 07's older, and older generally is sort of considered better. So with all that said, go back, if we come to Card Ladder, and we just type in superfractor, we'll put in Al too to make sure it pops right up for us. What happened, I thought was pretty interesting. The 08 didn't just outsell the 07, it 2.5x'd it. Wow. And I'm not going to tell you that I know why that happened. I don't. I did think that the 08 would win. I'm pretty surprised that it's 2.5x. And so this is a reminder that small sample size can lead to strange things, or maybe there's a great reason for this. I mean, put in the comments if you think that there is, if it's just totally a no-brainer. I don't think so. I figured that these two would sell closer together. And so you're left sort of wondering, like, is there some specific reason? And here, I'll give you a few. People will, in these moments, people always say things like they know what they're talking about, and they generally don't. People will say things like, well, you know, the 08, like, somebody's probably doing that set. There's a chance. Probably not. Nobody's doing a superfractor set. There's a chance that somebody just was trying to put together as many 08 chrome superfractors as possible, though. That's possible. Here's an idea that you might not have considered. The 08 ended about 90 minutes ahead of the 07. Is there a chance that two people really wanted Al Harrington superfractors and they really duked it out on one, and the guy who won then didn't have, you know, he had his one and he didn't have the money or didn't have the desire to go duke it out on 07. And so the guy who really just wanted either one of them came across with a way better deal on the 07. That sort of thing happens sometimes. I did a reel a couple months ago about Nikola Jokic Gala rookie that sold right after he got injured. It actually sold before we knew that he was going to be healthy. We thought maybe he'd like torn an ACL or something like that. And I was really upset about this because it's the one card of Nikola Jokic that I own, and it ended without us knowing whether he would be healthy again. And I said in the reel that I made, when the person bought this, there's no way they could have known how healthy Jokic was going to be. And Chris McGill afterwards said, and I appreciated that Chris said this. He said, one of the things that people forget is, I forget the word that he used, but it's like the circumstances around a sale. As months go by, people just distill the data to a simple moment in time. And they don't think about the facts and circumstances surrounding those sales. Now, the facts and circumstances surrounding these sales, I'm just guessing on. I don't have any idea. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason why the 08 Chrome Superfractor is worth 2.5 times the 07. Maybe there just genuinely is. Or maybe that sort of thing that I said, like where, hey, maybe one person, two people are bidding against each other. You take one out, and then that's what happens for the second one. Maybe that's it. I don't know. What I do know is it's worth considering that type of human element when you're buying and when you're looking at data. And that's really, really key. All right. That is it for that sale. The only thing that I wanted to highlight this week I love doing these little posts where I sort of like, where I compare a couple things. This one, I want to go back and do this one. I wish I'd done this one different. The thing that I wanted to highlight on this one, and this one that I've wanted to do for a while, and I sort of feel like an idiot that I didn't do a better job. So when you're putting together a graphic like this, it's like hard to figure out like how to grab people's attention and how to tell them what you want to tell them. And what I regret about this, and I actually talked to my friend Nate about this in Cardboard Veritas, he said, this is what he said. So there's too many big differences to even really compare them, in my opinion. He says, watermelons versus blueberries, LOL. Image quality, design quality, iconic status. Steph has parallels. Steph has countless other rookies. GOAT versus non-GOAT, et cetera, et cetera. Lastly, the conventional demand rules don't apply to the 3 most important cards in the hobby. And he's right about everything that he said. Everything he said is perfect. Nate's really, really smart. And everything he said there is exactly right. And what I said to him is I said, if I could go do this over, I'd leave the recent sale price info off and just highlight the pop numbers. To me, how close they are is really interesting. And I guess I guess it's surprising to most. Nate said, yeah, that makes sense, and definitely agreed. Read the pop on the Curry. That is the story, and that's what I wanted to highlight. But I sort of got suckered in my own mistake here, totally my own mistake, of highlighting price. 90% of the pop, 25% of the value. If I had to do this over again, I'd remove these bottom 2 lines. I'd remove this line, and I'd make the cards bigger, and I would highlight these pops because I think that's really interesting. The Jordan is a top 3 most iconic card in the history of the hobby, and there's literally no question about it. It's the Mantle 52, and it's the T206 Wagner, and those are the top 3. The Steph, and I own the printing plate of the Steph. I think it's important to recognize that I don't think that the printing plate is attached to the value of the card in any way necessarily, and so I don't know that, but I want to put that out there. Big bold sign, I own the Steph, and so just know that as I talk about it. But part of the reason that I went and bought the Steph was because I was shocked at when we did the iconic 25 and 25. I was shocked at how people voted for the Steph. I personally thought I was high on it, thinking it was the 3rd most iconic card of the 2000s across all sports. The 25 and 25 was designed to take all sports, put them all together, get all different types of people to vote on it, and then to find out what cards were the most iconic. And some people have criticized me in the past for being so basketball heavy, and the people who have taken surveys like this of being so basketball heavy, that I think people were really shocked when the number 1 most iconic card on the survey came out to be a football card. It was the Tom Brady Contenders, which came out in 2000. I had the Brady number 2. I had the LeBron Exquisite RPA number 1, and I had the Steph Curry number 3. And some people were like, you can't put the Steph number 3. Remember, it's all of the Steph cards from 09 Topps in one spot, right? It was the Chrome, it was Refractor, it was all of them. They all include one spot because it's all about the image of the card. But when I saw the votes come in, what I learned was that the experts, those people who had been in the hobby for a long time and work in the hobby, very few of them viewed the Steph as being the most iconic card of the era. They viewed it as being, I'll go through this quick because I know you guys are here to look at the rest of it, to get to the auctions, and I'll get to them. But the experts didn't put it at number 1, but the community did. The community voted this card as the most iconic card of the 2000s by a lot. It was number 1 by a great margin, and it was shocking to me. I was like, what? How can you put that higher? And I think part of it is that at this point, that's the Steph image. You can say an NTRPA is an iconic card, and it showed up as like number 8 or number 9 on the list. But I'll tell you guys, like, that card is beloved, but this is the iconic card. When you think about Steph, you think about this card. He didn't have a lot of those brands that people like. And because Topps, and because Panini was just starting and Topps and Upper Deck had to do their own thing, most of them really highlight him in a Davidson uniform. You see Steph, you see the white shirt, and then you see the Warriors. And I think people like sort of go, oh, okay, it's an NBA card. I don't know what he's wearing exactly. And some people don't like that it's just a profile, but like the other thing that we saw on the 25 and 25 is that the newer collectors like the profile. They want to know, or the portrait. They really want to see the player close up. The Mahomes optic was the other one where it was like, oh my goodness, this showed up so much higher for the community. So when I look at this, I love Nate's comments, but when I look at this, I really do think this is comparing maybe a card that we're going to look back at as the most iconic card of the 2000s, and certainly the most iconic card back to the 1950s, right? The only card that comes close to this one, you would say, is the Griffey 89 Upper Deck in terms of being iconic, but the Jordan wins. It just does. It's like it has stood the test of time. And I know people are like, it's not his rookie. It's not. Okay, whatever you want to say. That's the most recognizable basketball card of all time. And I think there's a case, and I sounds crazy, I know. I think there's a case that Steph Curry card is like, it might be like the second most recognizable basketball card of all time at some point. It's not there yet, but at some point I think it might be. The 1980 Topps trifold card to me is number 2. And then I think it's really hard because, like, and I've always said this, you can look back at all my content through the years, it's the Kobe Topps rookie, which includes the chrome and the chrome refractor. It's the Wilt 61. It's the Mikan 48. It's the 57 Russells, the 69 Alcindor. It's maybe to a lesser degree the 72 Dr. J. It's the LeBron. Right? It's the LeBron Exquisite, but LeBron has a couple of cards, right? This is what I was going to say earlier, and I cut myself off, where Brady has both the Contenders and the Bowman Chrome, and LeBron has both that very great first Exquisite card as well as the Topps Chrome, and those things sort of cancel each other out. To me, the National Treasures doesn't come close in terms of being iconic with this card. This card is rare enough that it has some love behind it. And so anyway, I wanted to highlight that the pop on these two is pretty close to each other. And I shouldn't have sort of tried to dive into the interest around the what they sell for. I wish I would have left that off altogether, because it's not really worth thinking about that. But thinking about how close those pops are, I think is really interesting. Okay, those are 2 stories I wanted to cover with you guys. Now we're going to get to MC Sports Cards. And we're gonna hit. It's not their monthly auction; it's their weekly auction that ends tonight. MC Mondays, number 111, and I have, I think, 6 cards in this auction that are mine. I'll highlight all of them if you guys don't mind in this, but I'll also highlight some of the other cards that I think are really cool that are up right now. Start off with a Hank Aaron purple definitive autograph refractor, currently at $1,000. A Victor Wembanyama. This is before Topps had an NBA license. I personally like these cards quite a bit. This is one of the most iconic Victor Wembanyama rookie cards. I know it's not licensed, but it looks like it almost could be. I like that it's his side. You don't realize that it's not, that you're not seeing Spurs. You don't need to see Spurs, right? The autograph looks great. It's not graded. Most of the autographs aren't because they streak, but I love that card. A LeBron, boy, these are going up again, huh? PSA 9, $2,300 for the base LeBron Topps Chrome rookie card. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, this is out of Eminence insert called Brilliant Signatures, is currently at $1,000. I personally really like Eminence this year. I like it more than other years except for the first year. To me, obviously, the first year is the one that I like the most. And you'll see one of those cards that I really love coming up here in a second. Love Ace Bailey. He's on my Utah Jazz. Number 19 out of 50 is important because, guys, that is his jersey number. This is one of those cards that's a really interesting flyer card because Ace is young. He's still figuring things out, but he has a lot going for him. That includes mentally. Like, I really like Ace, and I think a lot of Jazz fans really like Ace. The question is whether he'll put it all together, but just imagine for a second, because this is his gold refractor autograph. Imagine that this is the Mike Trout gold refractor autograph. What did that card end up being worth at its peak? And what would it be worth if you found the jersey numbered copy of it? I really like this card a lot, and it's one of the first aces that sort of tempted me a little bit. I just try to figure out, how much, whether I think he'll stay on the Jazz or not. Because I care about that. I know you probably don't, but I do. Some huge baseball cards and a big Cade Cunningham. You can see the Shohei's on either side of the Cade. Shohei and a PSA 10. This is the regular batting rookie, over $4,000 now. This is the Heritage 600 chrome purple refractor and a PSA 10. I know that this is a more iconic card than this card, but I like this card personally a lot more than this card. And I think it'd be interesting to compare those pops there. Cade Prism Blue Shimmer out of 30. Wemby out of 150. Mahomes Panini Black. This goes back to the Fleer Retro from 2012. Looks like the 98 PMG, numbered out of 50. We'll keep scrolling along here, and we'll get to my first. Oh, actually, we'll get to a couple of my cards. So I'll highlight both of those. We'll talk about those in a second. Oh, look at this, Terrell Owens. This is the Shining Stars rubies, which are some of the rarest rubies that they ever made, numbered to 30. Let's check card ladder on that when we have a sec. And check out this Michael Jordan, meant to look like the original game jersey from 97. This is the 2023 Goodwin Champions jersey. Obviously, you're not going to get NBA licensed stuff on there because Upper Deck was not NBA licensed in 2023, but it still fits a lot of the other specifications and reminds you of that first set. In fact, I want to look at something on that. Check out this Barry Sanders. This is from 05 Exquisite. What is this number? We're going to look at that very carefully to see if we can figure out what's going on there. Mailman Kaboom. That's cool to see for me. That's the second year of Kaboom. Big time Gehrig, SGC 1.5. Nick Chubb, Donruss Optic. This is his rookie 1 of 1. So if you are a Nick Chubb fan, this is one of his better cards in existence. It is. How many Nick Chubb cards would you rather have than that one? Currently, it's sitting at 1660. Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper, dual autograph out of Bowman. Caitlin Clark, rookie royalty. This is just her rookie out of rookie royalty, PSA 8. Cool. Wow. Check this out. This is a Hornsby autographed cut. And then is it a Lember? Oh, jumbo game used. Oh, it's jersey. So there you have the Raja. I don't know what that means. And that's apparently probably his nickname. I should know that. But it's like a cut autograph jersey of one of the better players in MLB history. Shade 4-color patch auto, very cool. Cade Cunningham, very cool. Paul Pierce, interesting logoman right here. Mini card, 1 of 1 logoman patch. I think that's a legit logoman, actually. It's kind of an interesting play. Wow. Okay, so this is one of the biggest cards of the week for sure at MC. We're going to talk about that one in a second. That Penny Hardaway needs some time. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, seeing this one up here just makes me sad. This Chris Paul just stops me in my tracks. This card has been in my collection for a decade. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about my Octo autograph right there. Going to talk about this Vince Carter. This is one of the best Vince Carter exquisite cards in existence. Let's keep scrolling along here. Obviously, another big week for MC. They're all big weeks for them now. This John Stockton right here. This is not mine, but we talked about it a little bit last week. We're talking about it a little bit more now. Talk about the Banut Bowl. Wow, look at the Reggie. Reggie at 1,200, Stockton at 300. We'll talk about maybe why that's the case. Trespeaker. This Jeter is gorgeous. That is an awesome looking card. I'll tell you what, Topps and Dynasty, I'm excited to see some Topps Dynasty basketball. I am excited to see that. We can talk a little bit about this Kobe Bryant gold refractor. Wow, that is so cheap for that card. I think that's cheap. I do. Pop 2, Carmelo, really cool patch. Really cool patch. Howie Comives. I don't even know if I'm saying his name right, but it is my card, so I'm going to share that one with you guys too. Check out this Mailman. I've had that one in my collection for about 5 years. Oh, this LeBron. We saw one of these recently. It might be the same one. I want to talk about that one for sure. Okay, so we got like 15 cards here to look at. Okay, so Joe Ingles. I think you certainly has a case for the best Joe Ingles card in existence. Question is whether you like Nebulas or Black more. Joe only has a few years of Prism. He has some other, he's got like a Logoman card that's numbered to 10 that came out recently out of Silhouette. But I think outside of, I think this is a better card than that card for sure. The card being numbered out of 10 is quite a lot. But I've had this card in my collection for several years. I traded a big Donovan Mitchell card for it. It's got Rudy here on the back, numbered 1 out of 1. I know none of you guys care about this, but I love Joe Ingles. He represents an era of the Jazz that was really fun. I did not anticipate selling this card. I thought I'd get quite a bit more than this for it. So we'll see what it actually sells for tonight. Obviously, it still has some time left, but disappointing with where it is right now. This card I had sitting in my collection forever. Raw. I just always liked Gallery of Heroes. It's not the rarest card, but it's the first time in 6 months that we've seen a PSA 10 hit auction. And so from that reason, it's an interesting one to watch. Let's get out of here. We don't need to be in here anymore. The Terrell Owens. Why am I saying his name wrong? Terrell Owens? Terrell Davis, Terrell Owens. I should remember this, but numbered to 30. It's interesting. So if you know basketball, you know, like they're not making in this year, they're not making rubies to 30. I think it's because it's the Shining Star rubies. I think they made 2 different levels. Go take a look at that. What I wanted to check here. So I wanted to check 1999. Let's see if we can figure this out. 1999. Let me slow down a little bit here. Rubies, Owens. When we do that, I wonder if this is the same copy right here. Shining Star Rubies, Shining Star Rubies. So there's been 6 sales ever with just 99 Rubies Owens in them. Number to 30, number to 30, number to 30, number to 30. Oh, this one's autographics. This one's different. So only 5 sales of this card ever, and all of them are numbered to 30, which means definitely a likely situation where there's only 1 rubies of this card, and it's numbered to 30. So now, if we go look at this, you can see he's got his 49er stats on here. This is just a regular rubies card from this year. PSA 8, is it going to be the same one? I've got to look at that. 121, no, I think it's, yeah, so it's a different copy. This one's number 17, and this one's number 16. So 16 and 17 are both PSA 8s. So definitely check the pop on it. But the thing that I think is interesting is that it's got a very good chance of being the highest ever, right? The last one sold for $1,500, and it sold for that back in 2024. It's been a year and a half in a far more down market than we're in now. I suspect this one will probably sell for more than $1,500, especially because one hasn't sold since then. The question is how much. So for a super rare Owens, it could be a fun watch. Okay, what I wanted to see on here is going to sound crazy. I wanted to see the back of the card. Okay, the back of the card's really cool. It's really cool, and I'll tell you why. It's the same design as the original, except for the original's in blue. It's a really different sort of look. It looks like jersey mesh. It's in blue. I had one for several years that I sold as part of one of my buying into a giant big card recently. But this one's really cool because it has some of the same design elements. I would check the pop report on this one. I don't know how many of them there are, but it's very cool. And it's not a game used jersey. In fact, what does it say on the back? You've received a trading card with Michael Jordan basketball memorabilia that has been certified to Upper Deck as being worn by MJ. So like this jersey, I don't know what this is from, but if you can figure it out, it's cool. To me, it's cool. And there's probably people who wrote about this somewhere, but it's different. It's not a game jersey. It's who knows how rare it is, but I'd figure out how rare it is. And I'd try to figure out what this jersey is from. That's what I would do if I was really interested in buying this. That's how I would think about it.